Pathmonk is the intelligent tool for website lead generation. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition online. Pathmonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50%. Add Pathmonk to your website in seconds and let the AI do all the work and get access to 50% more qualified leads while you keep doing marketing and sales as usual. Check us on pathmonk.com. Welcome to today's episode. Let's talk about today's guest. We have Charlie from Finch, head of marketing out there with them. How you doing today, Charlie?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Ernesto.
It's great to have you on. I'm sure our listeners are tuning in, wondering what Finch is all about. So let's kick it off with that, Charlie, in your own words. Can you tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, sounds good. So Finch is a platform that helps applications in the employment ecosystem connect to the sources of truth, right? So think of where you get your paychecks, the HRIS and payroll systems. So in today's market, when you're selling to people in HR, finance, and IT, it's expected that your tool connects to the other tools that the company is already using, right? So instead of building all the integrations yourself in-house, you can leverage Finch's Unified Employment API to offer direct connections to almost any payroll system that your customers are using.
All right, awesome. That's good. That's great to hear. And so that way our listeners could get a good understanding of your company, Charlie. What are some problems that you solve for clients?
Yeah, so I think because we're an API, the main problem that we solve is data connectivity, right? We are the plumbing, if you will, between different systems in the employment space. So without us, I think it's probably helpful to understand what users would experience without us, right? So without us, a lot of companies still, make their customers send CSV files back and forth to transmit data, sensitive information. Like, for example, if you're updating your deductions in your retirement platform, right? A lot of times the HR person has to upload those files into the 401k platform, and then they have to update the information in the payroll system to match kind of the deductions. It's a pain in the ass, as you can imagine. So that's the main problem is we offer those integrations so that there's no longer that manual work in the middle that the HR or admin has to do.
All right, awesome to hear. So then as far as an ideal ICP, is there someone that you guys like to go for a vertical or segment?
Yeah, it's a great question. So yeah, I mean, we help any application building in the employment space. So some examples of, companies that we help out the most are benefits companies, insurance companies, business, fintechs, compliance, tax credits. These are some of the niches that we play really well in and have a lot of customers in. And again, the problem we're solving is that we're offering direct integrations to the payroll systems that their customers are using, right? So this saves them engineering costs and allows our customers to open up their target addressable market because they can work with more of their customers' payroll systems.
Definitely. All right. Awesome. And so then how would somebody usually get in contact with you? What would you say is Finch's top client acquisition channel?
Yeah. We actually get a lot of press. We're solving a huge problem. And so we're actually getting a fairly good pickup for a company of our size out there. So we recently won, GGV Capital's FinTech Innovation 50, and then also Hacker Noon's Startup of the Year in San Francisco. That actually just got announced earlier this week. And we get a lot of word of mouth as well because our customers talk to each other, right? Other peers in the space, and we're solving a painful problem for them. So word gets around pretty quickly, right? And of course, we run your typical demand gen channels, ads, emails. We go to some events. We're getting into ABM. Those are things that we're using to kind of harvest the interest. But there's also a lot of, word of mouth and press, as I mentioned.
All right, awesome. And so that way our listeners who are tuning in could go visit you guys. You could visit them at tryfinch.com. What role does it play for your client acquisition, Charlie?
Oh, it's so important. I mean, our website is the digital storefront. Almost all customers, that's their first impression of Finch, right? So naturally, it's going to be very important real estate. It's like an art piece that we keep working on, and the work is never going to be done, right? We keep improving on it. And so yeah, I think it's very important. And one thing I will say is that one thing we could improve upon it is I wish we could do a little bit more A/B testing, right? Testing out different colors, words, pieces like that. And then I also wish that we could de-anonymize all the traffic so we can send that information to the sales team and have them instantly reach out. So these are some items on the wish list. I don't know if I'm jumping ahead here, but yeah, our website is very important.
Definitely. Yeah. And would there be any tools, tips, or methods that you would recommend to our listener as far as some lead generation from the website?
Yeah, I mean, tools and tips, I think just gathering data about who's on your site is super important. And just knowing who they are, right? It's not easy because a lot of that traffic, as I mentioned earlier, is anonymous. But I mean, we spend a lot of time looking at our Google Analytics. We spend a lot of time looking at our Clearbit data, which is, they put a pixel on the site and they're able to tell you which companies are on the website, right? We have an A/B testing tool, VWO, that's working pretty well, but I would love to be able to serve, different landing pages depending on which company, is on the site, right? So we look at a lot of tools like that. Of course, we run HubSpot and Salesforce, and we do a lot of demand capture from those two tools. But I mean, I don't think our stack is very different. I think the difference is how much time we do spend looking at the data versus just capturing the data.
Definitely. Okay, awesome. Great to hear from you, Charlie. Thanks for those recommendations. Well, let's switch it up a little bit and let's talk about you as a leader, you being the head of marketing there for Finch. What are some key tasks you focus on your day-to-day work?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, I mean, these days, I'm focused on ramping up new team members. We have a pretty small team, so we just doubled the marketing team from 2 people to 5 people if you include contractors in the last couple months. So that's a big change for a team, and I'm focused on building processes that scale. I'm also have the luxury of not having to do some of the day-to-day work now and get to hand it off to these wonderful marketers that we just recently brought on, and then I can focus more on building out the strategy and the plan for 2024 and making sure that plan is aligned with the rest of the leaders at the company.
Definitely, that's important, right? I think you guys are nailing it, so great to hear that from you. But let's jump into our next section now then, Charlie, which is our rapid fire question rounds. Are you ready for them?
Let's go. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. First off, what is the last book that you read?
All right. So this is going to sound bad. I don't have that much time to read that much these days. Mainly because I'm not like a read for pleasure kind of, I don't like to read on my spare time. What I do is I watch YouTube or read short form content. So I read a lot of blog articles and things like that. I found that professionally, marketing moves so fast that by the time it gets to print, a lot of the tactics might be out of date. So especially for marketing, I prefer to read and learn more short form, up-to-date content, like LinkedIn, posts, blog posts. And then I also, network a lot with my peers.
All right. Awesome. That's great to hear. Next up is, what is one single thing that your company is focused on at the moment the most?
Yeah, I would say right now is pipe gen. So, generating enough pipeline to hit our ambitious new business goals as we flip into fiscal 2024, which just started yesterday. So we're focused on how do we hit the ground running. And we're also making some tweaks to our go-to-market approach. In 2023, we took a broad and wide approach, but we're realizing that potentially it might be more efficient if we tested some more vertical specific marketing and outbound tactics. So that's the number one thing the company's focused on.
Okay, awesome, great. Now, if there be no boundaries in technology, Charlie, what would be that one thing that you want to have fixed for your role as a marketer today?
Yeah, this was top of mind for a lot of marketers, especially with all the rules and regulations coming out. I think email is historically it's been the workhorse of marketing. But right now, I think, and rightfully so, all the internet service providers are stepping up their regulations of this technology because folks have just been abusing them, right? It's not a good experience from a user, right? I get a lot of these emails as well. So I think email is currently broken. Right now, I would even go as far as saying email is to marketing as what Tinder is to dating. It's just all volume. You might find a needle in a haystack, but it's mostly low quality. I think you need a better way to connect buyers and sellers, right? And so, I could see an app that comes and allows buyers to hand raise when they're in the market and field requests, and then sellers can even bid on their ability to talk to these buyers, with a limited resource. I don't know if it's money or something else. Haven't thought it out completely yet, obviously, but there might be something here. But I think email is ready for disruption.
All right, awesome. And I'm glad to hear that, right? I think I get 100, 200 emails per day, and just to go through them it's a little bit tough. So definitely on board with you on that. Well, next up is, if there is one repetitive task that you could automate, Charlie, what would that be?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I thought about this a little bit yesterday, and I think it's still kind of reporting and analytics for me. Just because so much of it is manual still, right? And this might just be recency bias, but we're updating a lot of our metrics to close out 2023 and look at 2024. And a lot of it's just manually pulling them from different places and needing to tweak filters and things like that. We'd love for a way to just automate it all and just have it be, spoon fed.
All right. Awesome. And well, lastly, Charlie, as you mentioned, you have a good experience in marketing already, years already in it, but what is one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you were to restart your journey as a marketer today?
Yeah, it's a good one. I've been a B2B marketer my entire career, right? We're coming up on 15 years of that. I would say if there's only one piece of advice, I would have recommended to my younger self starting out to get some more exposure in B2C marketing before getting into B2C, B2B. So get some more B2C before getting to B2B. I think you get to work with so much more data in B2C, and you can do some really cool stuff with that data and translate that into some sophisticated marketing. And so that would have been nice to get some more exposure into earlier on in my career. I think it's a little bit too late for that now. But yeah, that's one thing I wish I'd done earlier in my career.
All right, awesome. But great advice there for our listeners. Hey, well, Charlie, thanks a lot for being on the show with us today. I do want to give you the last word. If someone forgets everything about the interview today, what is that one thing they should remember about Finch?
We help you save a lot of costs if you're building in the employment space. We offer integrations to almost any payroll provider used in North America. And so take a look at us, tryfinch.com.
There, you guys heard it. Well, you could go to their website, tryfinch.com. Charlie, thank you so much for being on with us today. To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in, and looking forward to our next episode at Path 1%. Thanks a lot, Charlie.
Awesome. Thanks, Ernesto. Super fun. Thanks for having me on.